Howdy, this is Toby.
And this is Sean.
All right, today's February 23rd. We're here to talk about some new releases this week. But first, Sean, you played a gig, right?
Yeah, we played last Saturday with
Party Oregon.
Party Oregon.
Parlor.
At the Parlor with the Sean McNeil group from Houston. And Yep, also YEP with a exclamation point, Dean's band.
It went well?
It went great, yeah. I love that place. I don't know what it is about the Parlor, but they have built they built that stage, about 2 months ago now?
Yeah.
A little 6-inch stage. But I think it makes the sound in there so much better. Like, I really feel like it kind of dampens the sound because it can tend to be loud. But anyway, it sounded great.
And they also got Quinn working sound now.
Yes,
which
and he does a great job.
Yeah, he does a great job. But before, there just wasn't a sound guy. You just plugged in the mic and,
Right.
worked it yourself, which I'm used to that. But this is better. This sounds better. This is better for the people coming to see it.
Yeah, it was great. And the people in the crowd, not only did they think that all the bands were awesome, but they also said it sounded great too for everybody. So it was great. And on Saturday night, I went to a show at the Lost Well. I saw Pussy Gillette opened, and then Suckling played second, and then We Are the Asteroid headlined, and all bands were great. We Are the Asteroid kicked my ass. I'd never heard them before, but
great.
They have a bunch of material. I'm just completely out of the loop on those guys, but they rock my world. They were really, really good. So yeah, that was a fun
That's awesome.
show.
I think they're on tour now, or maybe. But so anyway, that's awesome. I went to a movie with my kid, and it was a Japanese movie called Drive My Car. And when I got about 10 minutes into it, I kept thinking, I know what's going to happen. And I was like, I completely listened to this audiobook a couple years ago. And then I just forgotten the title of it. And it's like a 3-hour movie, but it was awesome. I was stoked.
And that was a premiere, right? Was it a premiere or something?
No. It's from last year.
Oh, okay.
But it's a well-known movie.
Was it subtitled or was it in
English? It has an international cast.
Oh, cool.
But it's mostly in Japanese. It's got some Korean sign language and some English in it. And they're putting on a play of Waiting for Godot. But this isn't a movie show. I didn't mean to get sidetracked on that. But yeah, Drive My Car is awesome. The book's great too. And oh boy, we got some releases today. And I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to start with Immolation.
Hooah!
Act of God by Immolation. Oh my God. Let me get a better. That's kind of a.
What the fuck is it? Come on, Immolation. It's a great record cover, but man, it's hard to read these things sometimes.
Oh yeah, this one. This isn't as bad as the next one we've got coming up. You can actually read this. They have the print in here. Here's the guys. So Immolation. This is their 11th album. They've been going since 1986. They've been touring since 1992. They're an old school death metal band. They've got the two main dudes, Ross Dolan and Bob Vigna. Ross on bass and singing, Bob on guitar, lead guitar, and they've been going strong for a long time. They're from the third biggest city in New York State. Do you know what that is?
Let's see. New York City? Albany.
Yonkers.
Oh, Yonkers.
Okay. It goes New York City, Buffalo, and then Yonkers. But Yonkers is connected to New York City, so sometimes it gets confusing for us what's a borough and what's a city at that point. But Yonkers, the place that brought you DMX and Linda Lovelace and William F. Buckley all come from Yonkers, as does Immolation. And I couldn't be more fired up about their new album, Act of God. It is a rocker. I mean, it starts off, Noose of Thorns, An Act of God, The Age of No Light, Blooded. There's a lot of good songs. I gotta be honest with you, this is the first Immolation album I own. I guess I'm late to the game. I did see them about 8 years ago, open for Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death
God.
in the Decibel Tour in San Antonio. And was that the Decibel tour? Anyway, they were good, but I got there late. They played, and I saw like the last 8 minutes of their set, and I was not familiar with their material. Although, San Antonio is the best city to see metal in, and as much as I love my own city, everyone knows that San Antonio is the most metal city there is. And if you're gonna see a metal band, it's kind of worth it. I mean, especially big whoever you're gonna see, go to San Antonio and see it. So I saw them at Warehouse in San Antonio, which is exactly what it sounds like it is. But anyway, that was a good show, but I wish I knew their material better at the time. I should have gotten their last album, because this one's great. It's old school death metal. Not a lot of catchy choruses on here. What it does have is a whole lot of fucking sick ass riffs and a lot of great playing, a lot of great drumming. Their drummer, Steve Shality, has now been with them at least 15 years, So the new guy is their rhythm guitar player, Alex Books, who used to be in Incantation. So Immolation is from the same scene in New York area, death metal scene, the early 90s, late 80s, that brought you all the Asian bands. Immolation, Incantation, and Suffocation should all go out on a death metal vacation with each other. I would go see that. But, and to make it even more confusing, Alex Books used to be in Incantation. Now he's in Immolation. And then John, the main dude from Incantation, also subbed in Immolation on guitar back for a tour in 2012. And their names sound alike. But anyway.
Jesus, they should form a
No, they're both good bands, but musically different. They're just, everyone was on the same train of thought naming their band back in the day. And that's cool, because I like all three bands quite a bit. I probably know Suffocation the most. Immolation is awesome. And they're going to be playing here this Saturday Come and Take It Live with Imperial Triumphant and Mortifarium from Olympia, Washington. And I want to go to that. And it looks like they're going to be playing like 7 songs from this album, because that's what I like to hear, the new shit. Obviously I like new music. And then when I go see a band, I mean, especially if there's a band like this has like 12 albums, if I'm super into the new album, I want to hear as much of it as possible. And
you're late to the game, so that works in your
favor. And I'm late to
favor.
the game. It totally works in my favor. And these guys like to play the new shit. I already looked at the set list, and there's 7 songs from this album on it. So I'm gonna go. And I'm such a nerd. Here's when I go to a show, sometimes I'll look up the set list, and then I'll make a playlist of the set list, and then I will listen to it on the way to the show.
And if they don't play the set list
they will. Metal bands always play the same set list for a tour.
They're going to be getting an earful from you, and a strongly worded letter about how they
Sometimes
fucked it up.
I see people at shows who've obviously done the same thing, but they have to let you know that they know what's next. And
Abandoned is next.
I'm gonna call out every song.
Suffer the Children is next. I know. Wait, you're messing it up.
But like it worked out. Like me and John went to go see Overkill in like 2012. I just got hip to them. And they already had like 12 albums. So I made a mix. I looked up their set list on Setlist FM, and I made a mix, and I listened to it, and I didn't tell him what it is. And then after the show, he totally called me out on it. He's like, "You knew what they were gonna play. Like, we listened to their set before we got there." And I was like, "Yeah, isn't that cool?" He's like, "I think so."
You've been a set list nerd for years.
It's stupid.
Yeah, everybody knows. But that's a great idea. I love
like
that,
to know the material when I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I mean, but at the same time, I have a lot of good memories where, like if the first time I heard a song was the band playing it live,
Right.
sometimes that's just so memorable. Like, I saw Jesus Lizard at the Cannibal Club, and it was like that their album Goat had just come out, their second album,
great record.
and I had never heard any of those songs, and they like played that album like front to back, and like then the next day I went out and bought the CD, and it sounded just like what I'd seen, you
That's
know,
awesome.
and then that's my association in my mind when I hear Goat is that show, you know, which is awesome. It's better than your association being, you know, whatever, I was stuck at the airport or whatever. This is what I was listening to.
A crappy playlist that I made for a friend of mine.
It was on the jukebox at work. That's the worst. Yeah, so the Immolation's awesome. Love this album. I was checking out their other albums.
What label is it on?
It's on Nuclear Blast.
Okay.
And they've got a good team. They've got the same guys doing the production they've had for like the last 4 albums, and same guys doing art, same guys doing mastering, and they've got a really consistent sound. And the dudes seem like my kind of dudes. They seem like awesome guys, and I'm gonna be rocking out to this all year. I can tell. So anyway, moving on. We're gonna go to the next bigger thing, or actually probably even bigger, because he won a Grammy a couple years back with High on Fire for their last album, Electric Messiah, which is now 6 years old. Like, this came out in 2016, I believe. Awesome album. Here's a way older one, Blessed Black Wings, but this is Pike versus the Automaton, the new solo album from Matt Pike of Sleep and High on Fire fame. What do you think about this one, Sean?
Man, what a great record.
Look at this fucking art.
So, completely out of the game on this one. This is a total noob's review right here for Pike versus the Automaton. But I was listening to this in my car on the way, I'm traveling yesterday, and I was like, my God, this reminds me completely of High on Fire meets like Melvin's Bullhead, you know? And then like, oh yeah, I'm an idiot, you know, Matt Pike from High on Fire. So it's, dude, it kicks so much ass. Like, this could easily be the next High on Fire record, but it's different though. You can tell it's written differently. But the song structure is great. But not only that, like, they come in with the curveball with an acoustic guitar song, like at number 6 or 7 on the track listing, and it's amazing. But show that fucked up, show those liner notes.
Oh, here's my only bitch about this album, because I really
You're over 45,
enjoy this
you want
album.
to appreciate these liner notes.
But as you see, I'm wearing readers right now because I'm 51 years old. But what is up? Like, okay, I had to take brown on black in small type. Like, you did not want me to read. Like, you didn't want me to read these lyrics, did you? You didn't want me to know who was on this album. Anyway, I really had to work to read that. Like, that is so unreadable. That's worse than Cannibal Corpse red on brown. The brown. Anyway. So many good songs on this, and you know, if I was to go see, there's so many songs on this that, like, there's no reason this isn't a High on Fire song. Abusive, Throat Cobra, Trapped in a Mid Cave, Land is the acoustic one. Now that has Brent Hines from Mastodon, and as big as Mastodon are, I've never really delved into their catalog. They've always been a little bit too prog for me, but you know what? If they put out an album next week, I'd get them to talk about it. But I think they just put one out that was apparently kind of mellow. And so Alien Slut Mom, that one, yeah. Acid Test Zone.
Acid Test Zone, that's a great record.
Oh yeah, Leaving the Wars of Woe. God, that one's good. You know, this is like a pandemic album, I think. You know, I mean, that's just how it feels to me. Like, he had his friends that he likes play come over, and yeah, I saw a video for Land, and he seems to have some compound out in the woods, and it seems like they had plenty of time to formulate this one. Anyway, I would love to see, I don't know if he does solo shows, but if I was to see High on Fire, well, you know, here's the deal. Jeff Matz from High on Fire plays bass on this, and then the drumming is kick-ass. It's someone I didn't know named John Reed from the Portland band Lord Dying, because I guess, like, who the hell is this on drums? It's so good. The playing here, I mean, and Jeff Matz is like, I just think the world of his bass playing. I remember when he was the new kid in Zeke way back when, and like the word on him was like, you know, it was kind of like when Bruce Dickinson joined Iron Maiden. They were like,
God.
the first thing they did was made him get a leather jacket and promise not to cut his hair, you know?
Right.
But always a kick-ass bass player. I think he was really young back then. But anyway,
Nah, it's a solid record all the way through.
I got
Super
to see
solid.
High on Fire at the Oriental Theater, and it was like the last big show I went to right before the pandemic started. And this is the Oriental Theater in Denver. And it was Power Trip and High on Fire, and it was a phenomenal show. It was in the middle of a snowstorm. There was like 8 feet of snow outside. Oriental Theater is like an old movie theater. It's like with a big balcony, and that's kind of like my favorite venue to see a mid-level band. And you know, it wound up being one of Power Trip's last shows, and I mean, I was so glad that I saw it, you know. But anyway, you know, we go on that. For me, one of the biggest tragedies of the pandemic was losing Riley from Power Trip, because there was so much potential there. I feel like there was, you know, like 8 or 10 Power Trip albums that I was looking forward to hearing that aren't going to happen. You know, because there were plenty of people we lost, and I'll get to another one over the pandemic, but a lot of them, you know, were people who'd already done their best work and stuff, and, you know, weren't people who were like right on the verge of just ruling it. And that's where I saw Power Trip at that time. But I'm getting off subject, because that was a great show. High on Fire and Power Trip, they had slightly different crowds but totally complimented each other.
What town is that where I'm at?
That was in Denver.
Oh, Denver.
Yeah.
Is it still open?
Oriental Theater, probably. Yeah, I haven't been up there. I haven't seen a show up there since. But love this album, Pike vs. the Automaton.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a great
Solid.
album. Okay, so our last thing we are discussing today, from Orlando, Florida, the city that brought you, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC,
Are you serious? They're both from Orlando?
Matchbox 20.
Wow.
I
Do you think they've all played at Disney World at some point?
would like to go to Disney World. And if they could have, like, they could even make a documentary where all the famous people who worked at Disney World, like, do what they did at Disney World. Like, I'd like to know exactly what they did there. Like, I was Goofy or whatever. I was Tinkerbell. Britney Spears was Tinkerbell or whatever. Yeah, no, all those people I don't think are from there. The production company was from there. And as far as metal bands go, I think the band Monotheist, most of the big Florida death metal bands that I know are from Tampa. But I'm getting off subject before I even get to the subject, which is Druid Lord, Relics of the Dead.
This album fucking slays.
How about this artwork, huh? God, let me get that reflection out of it. There we go.
It showed the very legible set list, song list.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
back.
that's easy to read. Look at that big type. I can read that. I can actually read that.
It's so legible. Thank
Uh-huh.
you, Druid
Thank
Lord,
you,
for thinking
Druid
of
Lord.
us elderly guys. But, dude,
Uh-huh.
this record kicks ass. This is my favorite out of the 3 that we're reviewing today. So
Really?
yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I love
I'm
it.
happy with all 3, but of course the luxury of this show, since I get the CDs myself, is I get to review things I'm already interested in. So in reality, I don't like everything, but I have really good luck lately on picking things I want to hear, you know. So anyway, one of those I took a chance on. I think this is the 4th album from these guys, Orlando's Druid Lord. This is a doomy death metal album that has some blast beats, but then slows it down. It's got the Cookie Monster vocals. It's got fucking kick-ass lead guitar playing. It starts off with a bunch of bangers. Relics of the Dead, 13 Days of Death, Mangled is the hideous feed. There's a lot of horror movie samples. They're really into like Dario Argento, some of the Italian horror directors, and John Carpenter, just classic horror samples. I was trying to look up what movies those are from, and I couldn't quite figure it out. Monarch Macabre. I love that song. Anyway,
Festering Tombs. That's a great song.
Yeah, yeah. It made me want to get more of their stuff. Their album before this from a couple years ago is called Grotesque Offerings, and that also has some kick-ass artwork.
Even every song title could be the name of a kick-ass fucking band. You know?
Yeah.
Ethereal Decay. Like, they're all just like keepers, man. I love them. Yeah.
I don't know how much these guys have gotten out of Florida, but I would like to see them.
I would love to see Druid Lord. Man,
Druid
they kick
Lord.
my ass
Yeah,
through. The drumming's amazing. Yeah, the stuff in between songs, you know, like the build-up and the little snippets of the... You know who they actually reminded me of listening to this is Apraxic, August's band from Portland, Oregon. Yeah, great doom metal.
I like it on death metal bands when the bass player sings, like on this. I mean, there's a lot of, like, Deicide. I mean, not death metal, but Slayer, you know. But, like, for some reason... For me, Immolation's got a singing bass player, Ross Dolan. But if one of the people's gonna play, like, death metal's kind of weird for me when the guitar player's singing, because like they have to play super fast and there's a lot of intricate stuff. And I think bass, I mean, I love it when the drummer sings too. But yeah, bass playing.
Is there a death metal band where the drummer sings?
Autopsy.
Wow.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That guy must be in amazing shape.
Yeah, he's the main dude in the band. He used to be in Death way back when. I'm forgetting his name. A lot of people passed through Death over the years, and Death obviously was a big influence on Druid Lord and the classic Tampa Bay metal scene. I'm hearing a little Obituary in here as well.
For sure.
Yeah, I think the world of this record, the CD, and
who put that out?
This is on Hell something.
It's great. Artwork's great. These guys look.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, show you a picture of the guys. That's Pete Slate on guitars, Tony Black on vocals and bass, Eldon Santos on drums, and Chris Wickline. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Wickline on more guitars. Man, but
I want people to think more about the photo of these guys when they think of Orlando and of Disney World.
Oh yeah, right.
I want this to come
Epcot Center.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
I think they took that photo in front of Epcot actually. Look closely. These are great liner notes. Look at this.
Yeah, I can read that.
Amazing. Thank you, Druid Lord. God.
All right, so I always wind up talking about more people who died. We had a hit in the music business today. Let's see. From Screaming Trees, Mark Lanegan died, and plenty of people will be talking about that. So you don't really need to hear much from me about it. It's a loss. It's tragic. All of that. But there's a lot of places. What I wanted to do is point out two things he did that I've enjoyed recently that you might not have heard, okay? So the first thing is this Screaming Trees album, Buzz Factory, from 1989. It's on SST Records.
Oh, wow.
These guys, predate the rest of the grunge bands by like 6 years, and they put out like 4 or 5 albums on SST that are very garage rock. They're the only band of the grunge wave that was actually had a psychedelic garage background. And this album I got for $4.99 at Half Price Books, and it really captures this era of 1989 before the money was in there, touring college radio. These guys were a regular opening act for Firehose, so anyway, it's a fun record. I enjoy it. And the other thing that I enjoyed that he did, if I can get rid of this right here, is his memoir. God damn. Sing Backward and Weep. There's a picture of it. Sorry, I'm going multimedia here.
When was that released? When did that come
That's a couple years old, and it is. He brought the sleeves on this one. Like, you know, it's dirtier than the dirt. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It first off, it really captures that time I was talking about before in like the late 80s when they were touring like the college music circuit. And then when the money pours in and the drugs really get going and he becomes like it gets sleazy and he's best friends with all the big names in the grunge scene. But it's actually a well-written book that didn't have a ghostwriter. I'm pretty sure, because I don't even read rock bios anymore. They all seem to have the same ghostwriter and the same arc. And like last year I read 2 that were pretty unique, and one was that one, and the other was called Love, Sex, Music, by Kosi Fanny Tutti from Throbbing Gristle. That book was also very good. I enjoyed both of them. But yeah, so anyway, Mark Lanegan, here's a couple things I liked that lately I've gotten enjoyment from that he did. I don't really know the whole Screaming Trees Later stuff that well, although I find them to be an interesting band. You can get in a rabbit hole of looking at their stuff, especially after reading that book, which is super juicy. All right, so I think that's the end. Oh yeah, so next time. Oh, I never say this, and it's the thing everyone says. Hit that subscribe button because there's some shit coming up. Next time, among other things, we're going to be talking about Yard Act from England, Malignant Altar from Houston.
Yeah!
So anyway, we're going to take the song, take you out. Thanks for joining us once again for this episode number 7. You got anything to add, Sean?
No, but I hope I didn't ruin next week's review of Malignant Altar.
So, it's a spoiler.
Well,
you don't have to watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to
All right,
play a
here's
little
our song.
takeout jam here.
Ooh, I don't have my pick.
Oh, God. Where are my sticks?
Oh, shit.
I got them. Yeah, okay.